Hi folks, this time I'm going to be doing 6.4 for Algebra 2. And this is actually called nth roots. Okay, so if I told you I would like to know let's go over here, nth root of 81, you would say, well, what the heck is that? Here's what it looks like. We have a little n right here. It's an index number. And we have a square root sign. And I'm going to say 81. So if we want the nth root of 81, there's a couple things you need to know. First of all, this n right here is called the index number. That is the number that tells you what sort of root we want to take. We also have what's called a radical sign. A radical sign. And we have the number inside it, which is called the radicand number. So those are some 3 vocab words that you can look at right there. Now, there's 3 types of roots that we work with. First of all, we work with something called a principal root. Let's take, for example, the root 25, something that we are pretty familiar with. If we have just the principal root right here, principal root, we have nothing out in front of it right here. We actually want the principal root. Now, if we want the opposite of the principal root, we would have a negative sign out in front of that. That is going to be the opposite of the principal root. And finally, we also have both square roots. If we have a positive and a negative sign, and root 25, this is going to be both square roots. So both square roots. All right, let's go back to our nth root of 81. And let's say I want to find the 4th root of 81. Well, what does this look like? Our index number is a 4. That is going to go on the outside of the radical sign, and 81 is going to be our radicand number. Now, anytime we have a number on the outside here, so we've always had no number on the outside there, but we've known that it's an invisible 2. Well, let's go back to our 25. If in your calculators you take 25 and you take the square root of that, you're going to get 5. I'd like you to try 25 to the 1/2 power. Let's check what that is over here. If we take our calculator and I have 25 to the 1/2 power, I'm going to get 5. That's the same concept over here when we go to the 4th root of 81. This is the same thing as saying 81 to the 1/4 power. Now, if I take 81 to the 1/4 power, I'm going to get 3. So 81 to the 1/4 power is 3. So the 4th root of 81, you get 3. Now, of course, there is a little bit easier way to do this in the calculator. I'm going to write it out here. So if you go to the calculator, you're actually going to type your index number first. Well, our index number is 4. So we're going to type the 4 in our calculator first. Next, you are going to go to your math button. We love that math button. And we're going to go down to number 5. So let's do that over here. We're going to go to math. We're going to go all the way down to number 5. Now on your calculator, it might say the xth root of a number, but it's the same thing as the nth root, and you're going to click enter. Now, it shows up in your calculator as the fourth root of. That radicand number is going to be our last thing we're going to type in there. So our radicand number. So these right here are calculator steps. Calc steps. And that's is for a TI-83 or 84 calculator. If you press enter then, you get the same thing, and that answer is 3. So again, that calculator can be pretty helpful for you. What I'd like you to do right now is, if you are following along, I'd like you to try it. So let's go 3 examples here. Number 1, let's try the fourth root of 100. Number 2, let's try the fifth root of, let's go 380. And number 3, let's try the fourth root of, let's go negative 200. So right now I want you to pause this video, try that out, and see what answers you get. Okay. Hopefully you have 3 different answers on your calculator there. Let's see how you did. So I'm going to extend that radical sign there. The fourth root of 100 should be getting 3.16. Fifth root of 380, you should be getting 3.28. And for just the calculator's sake, we're going to say fourth root of negative 200 is a DNE. Now, we do know that we don't really have any DNEs, or does not exist, in Algebra 2 anymore, because whenever we are working with whenever we're working with negative numbers underneath the radical sign, we have imaginary numbers. So we have 4 more examples that I'd like to go through, just to make sure we have this pretty well cemented in our brains. Example 1. Let's try to find both square roots of root 16 x to the 8th. That is an 8 right there. That's not very well drawn. I will redraw that. X to the 8th. Sorry about that. Now, whenever you are taking both square roots, this is always an invisible 2 right there. So you're going to actually take 16 to the 1/2. Now, we all know what root 16 is. It's going to be 4. But just for sake of actually showing how this works, we're going to do 16 to the 1/2. And then you're actually going to take this number right here, this exponent right here, 8. And if you put it to the 1/2, really, that's going to be 8 divided by 2 right there. Now, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So we have x to the 4th. And our final answer here, 16 to the 1/2, we know that root 16 is 4. We are looking for both square roots. So this is a plus or minus 4. And then x to the 4th. And that is our most simplified answer. Let's try another one. Example 2. Let's go find the fourth root of 1,296. A to the 4th, B to the 12th. Extend that radical sign. Now, we have this big number right here. Our index is 4, so we're going to go 1, 2, 9, 6 to the 1/4. Use our rule, a to the 4th. We're going to divide 4 by 4. Well, 4 divided by 4 is just 1, so that A stays right there. B to the 12th, we're going to divide 12 by 4, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. Last, we need to go 1296 to the 1/4. And if we go over to our calculator, we have 1296 to the 1/4. And that is going to equal 6. So our final answer here is going to be 6ab to the 3rd. And let's do one more example here. I don't know where I'm going to have room to do it, so let's kind of, draw a little box right there. That's going to be separate. Hopefully you guys can see that. And example 3 is going to be right there. So example 3, we are going to go the 3rd root of x cubed. Now note that this is in parentheses. Minus 4 to the 12th. Now, the whole thing is in parentheses. So that means this is actually going to be bracketed right here. And we have x cubed minus 4 to the 12th. And that whole thing is to the 1/3 power. So all we're going to be doing is 12 divided by 3, or 12 to the 1/3. And our final answer is going to be x cubed minus 4, and that entire quantity to the 4th. That's it for our lesson. Hopefully that helped, and have a wonderful day.